What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded, and today we're going to talk about Governor Youngkin's new education policies that he is proposing for K through 12 schools. Spoiler alert, it's racist AF. Now, before we jump into that, don't forget the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, drop some comments, share these videos. It's important to grow the channel. Let's dive right in. This is according to Channel 13 News. Youngkin proposes new history standards. Critics say it is politically motivated. The standards overhaul is to restore excellence, curiosity, and excitement around teaching and learning history, according to the administration. This is by author Emily Harrison. You know, I like to give shout outs to those who provide the information for us. Now, let's dive in. Governor Glenn Youngkin unveiled a new draft policy that would update the standards of learning when it comes to teaching history in Virginia classrooms. However, critics are calling the policies politically motivated and have accused the administration of glossing over difficult parts of American history. It's just another attack on trying to make history what they want it to be, said James Fetterman, president of the Virginia Education Association. President Fetterman, thank you for calling it out. Thank you for calling it out. We need more public voices calling it out for what it is. In the 53-page document, policies outline what and when certain subjects are taught to Virginia students. Many difficult topics, such as lynching, would not be taught until the 6th grade, and Christopher Columbus's role in the slave trade not until the 11th grade. Now imagine that. Christopher Columbus, who came over to these lands and didn't discover shit, he got lost and found salvation in the lovely indigenous folks who helped him aboard and fed him, who he then turned around and committed genocide against and raped their women and stole slaves and helped to create a slave trade. But we're not going to learn about that stuff until the 11th grade. Up until that point, you're going to learn that Christopher Columbus is a hero and sailed the ocean blue in 1492 on the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Get the hell out of here. What kind of nonsense is that? To the point that in Virginia here, we don't even have a Columbus Day anymore. We have Indigenous Peoples Day. Oh, and by the way, on the recommendations, they recommend that instead of referring to indigenous peoples as indigenous folks, but rather refer to them as the first immigrants. If that ain't white supremacy and racism, I don't know what is. There is also a removal of content of Martin Luther King Jr. from the K-5 standards. No mention of Juneteenth. Removal of content of LGBTQ plus histories, Fetterman said. So they want to get rid of content for Martin Luther King Jr. from K through 5. Now that's a real hero, but you want to eliminate his voice. I wonder why. I wonder why. The Virginia Board of Education had been originally scheduled to vote on the recommended guidelines in August, but delayed the decision for months. By law, Virginia is required to update its history and social science standards of living, also known as the SOLs, every 7 years. The last time the guidelines were updated was in 2015. Several proposed policies under previous Governor Terry McAuliffe were ultimately scrapped, which included subjects such as gender equity and renewable energy. Why would you scrap gender equity and renewable energy? And mind you, Terry McAuliffe had a Republican House and Republican Senate in the state. So they were able to remove stuff from what he wanted to do quite easily. But why would you want to remove gender equity? That's equal pay for equal work. Guess what? In unions, it's gender equity. And why would you want to remove information about renewable energy when your planet is experiencing a climate crisis and what we need to do is move into renewable energies? It's backwards ass thinking. But actually what it really is they're sold out. They're trying to appeal to the most extreme, but they're sold out to the corporations. So even though they're giving you the culture war, they're not going to improve your life at all. They're just going to give you things to be able to go, libs, cry about it. But your life is still going to suck because they don't have policies to improve your life. They only have policies to enrich the rich. And you ain't that. The resulting standards right now are racist. They are factually incorrect. They are not age appropriate, and they reflect explicit political bias, said Fetterman. The Board of Education is set to review the draft policy by Thursday, November 17th. After the policy hearing, the State Board of Education will hold public engagement sessions later this year. A vote is not expected until early next year. Now, this is a terrible policy. It's terrible ideas that they want to put in there. Venerating historical racists and Civil War generals like Stonewall Jackson and you know, these traitors that fought a war against America. I want to honor them and get rid of the real heroes of this land. But we can do something about it. As Union people, we can do something about it. And this should be of interest to you because your kids go to public school. And at the very least, I want my kids learning an accurate history. Forget all the washing of history. They're mature enough to be able to understand that bad things happened in the past and we try to move forward in a better way. We don't have to keep hiding it to make ourselves feel better. No, guess what? There was some ugly shit in history. Accept that. Learn about it so we can move forward together and live in a more equitable society. It's ridiculous that we're still having these conversations. Ridiculous. But here we are. So what you can do is email your Board of Education here in Virginia. And I'm going to drop the email link in the description box. Drop an email and let them know that you do not support this policy proposal on education. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's an action that we can do. And this is important because, like I said, if you work for a living, your kids go to public school. Chances are you ain't sending them to private school because it's expensive. And chances are we can't afford private school. So we're sending them to public school. It's important that we care about the level of education that we're getting, the accuracy of the education that we're getting, the quality of the education that we're getting for our kids. That's part of what we're supposed to be about. So I hope you'll take the time to check the description box and write an email and let the Virginia Board of Education know that you don't support Governor Youngkin's bullshit racist agenda. All right? Remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one, and there can be no union without you and I front and center. Let's go.